Okay, hello everybody. Dan Fitzpatrick here, stockmarketmentor.com. And I want to look at Nvidia yet again. And this is why. In these videos, I really try to make them a combination of money making, which is kind of what it's all about when it gets right down to the bottom line, literally, and also educational. And one of the things about this, I think it's a few days ago, actually on the 24th. I'd been talking with members about like what could this stock do, and my sense was that it was certainly going up to 700. I had said back here at 500 once it broke out, 600 was in the bag. And that's what happened. Don't look at me like I'm patting myself on the back because that was not a bold call. Neither is 700, by the way. It's just looking at the patterns, and I think there's probably about 98 million other people who saw this pattern and said, hey, you know what? 600 is probably a pretty good target for this. So nothing unusual about that, but it is perpetuating. It's a self-perpetuating or self-fulfilling prophecy. And frankly, that's what we like to see. I hear a lot. I don't hear about it much anymore because it's with the advent of technology and greater technical analysis, charting skills, and stuff like that. You don't hear the same idiotic things that at least I used to hear 20 years ago when I'd hear all these fundamentalists, many of whom are probably off to some other occupation these days, talk about how technical analysis was stupid. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. You could not tell. And I saw one guy, I forget his name, and actually I remember, but I'm not going to say who it was, had a big long post about how he posted 20 different charts. 19 of them were computer generated random charts. And I'm not going to say his name. And he challenged technicians to pick the real one. And of course, that's a really stupid challenge. Anybody who took him up on that would be equally stupid because, frankly, charts for the most part are random. Every once in a while, you find one that's in a really good trend, and this would be one of them. But most charts, I get questions every week from members saying, hey, what do you think about this stock? What do you think about that stock? And 90% of them, I'd just be shrugging my shoulders saying, I don't know, could go up, could go down, might go sideways, but it's one of the three. And so when you're looking at charts, you're going to see random activity. But when you see one that's not, that's the one that you trade. And by the way, there is a case to be made, albeit a fairly weak one, that you could even trade random charts as long as you can identify what support and resistance are. Where that falls down is that support and resistance aren't these magical numbers. They're created by the activities or actions of actually market participants. And that's when psychology and money management comes into play. So charts are a self-fulfilling prophecy. But as long as you know what the prophecy is, you're going to make money on those. And NVIDIA is actually one of those. If you wanted to measure the move with respect to dollars, it would be $100 move here in the base. And so breaks out, you move it up, and lo and behold, it's $100 to 601. Not a big deal. On the other hand, if you're looking from 400 to 500 on a percentage basis, it's, guess what, 25%. So if you, and this is just the goofy stuff that some technicians engage in, I would be one of them. And so if you want to look at it from a percentage basis, it's about where it is right now, about 25% at 630. What I'm suggesting is that the stock will keep going. And we've got other, let's see, we've got AMD that reports earnings. I can't remember, and I'm not going to sit here and muse, not KLAC. AMD, I forget what, I know Microsoft does, but basically AMD and I think a couple others do this week, Qualcomm. Because NVIDIA is kind of the biggest dog on the porch, it it almost doesn't matter what AMD says or what Qualcomm says relative to their business because NVIDIA is the largest cap. It's the one that has the most awesome-est fundamentals. I'm joking, but it has great fundamentals and a great chart pattern. AMD is a little bit overbought. But if you look at NVIDIA, you'll see that this came out of a really, really nice base. And my suspicion is that this stock's going to keep going. So I've got a fairly big position in it, some calls, and also some stock and some short puts. So I've got like triple my fun here on the weekly chart. My suggestion would be, excuse me, if you're long, stay long. Don't get shaken out. Don't let this kind of stuff shake you out. It's back and forth, up and down. Look at the 8-day exponential moving average. That's the little thin blue line here, which was also a great song by Glass Tiger back in the day. But if you look at this here, this is a random thought. I don't know why I said that. But if you look at, gee, my knees, man, come on. If you look at the 8-day moving average here, this thing hasn't even been tested, not since before the breakout. So you can use this as your reference for the trend. And as long as this is not even tested, then there's seriously no reason to be selling this stock unless you're just kind of feeling guilty about making too much money, that kind of thing. And let's see, can I get this? Yeah. So one other thing here. This Tuttle Capital Management, I don't know who these guys are. I'm sure they're wonderful people. But they started this inverse Kramer ETF. And you can see, talk about inverse Kramer ETF. It should have been, I wish they'd had an inverse Kramer ETF because this thing absolutely blew chunks. Now, here's the thing, and I kind of have a little pet peeve about this. I contribute to Kramer not as often as I used to. He kind of has moved on to other people, which is totally fine with me. I'd always do anything for Jim if he asks because he has, he's the guy that gave me my start. If it wasn't for him, I don't know what I'd be doing, but I wouldn't be doing this. And I love doing this. So this kind of stuff gets my attention. So this closed down today. And I forget what this buffoon gave as a reason. I guess like, well, people just weren't interested in it or whatever. I don't think it was that. First of all, they make fees. Like they created this and he created the, excuse me, I'm sorry. He created the inverse ARC fund or ETF against Kathy Woods, and that's done better. However, every ETF, every stock, every chart stands on its own. The point is, this thing, how exactly, and this is the thing, like when you've got a point to prove, and I kind of tweeted an exchange back and forth with this idiot, and he said, oh, I was just trying to prove how stupid it is to follow people on TV and stuff like that. And I'm going like, you don't have to prove that. Everybody knows it's stupid to just follow people on TV. You got to know what the hell you're doing rather than just buy. And so the question that I have on this, and the last thing I want is to have an answer from this guy, but how exactly do you choose what stocks to short or which way to take, which trade of Kramer's to take the other side of? And this is why I'm asking, because this guy, I'm talking about Kramer, he'll cover 30 stocks in a show. And people ask, you hear it, I don't even know what that is, but I know the buy and all that. So which do you decide you're going to take the other side of? Which trade? Is it just trades that Kramer features? And what happens if he changes his mind? This guy actually said that they'd been short the mega caps for, I don't know, the last year or so. Like what? Kramer was supposed to be short the mega caps. I can tell you for a fact that that's not true because he featured my calls on Nvidia several times and Meta as well. I don't know about the others. I think I even fed him Microsoft at one point or another. The point is, I'm not defending Jim. Jim's a big boy. He can do his own stuff. He's been wrong about a lot of stuff. He's been right about a lot of stuff. Welcome to media trading. But what I'm saying is, have a reason why you are trading a stock. And if it's some kind of emotional thing to prove a point, that kind of thing, go into politics and prove your point that way. But when it comes to money, just focus on the charts, not on anything else. You can look at the fundamentals to understand the trades and all that. That's totally fine if you get what the company's doing. But when you're looking at a stock like this, you have to recognize the breakout. You have to recognize the strong trend, and you have to recognize that this thing's at least going to 700 now. My bet is 900 shortly thereafter. However, before I get out ahead of my skis, why don't we just go for 700 first, okay? That's all I got. And if you want to prove me wrong, you want to create an inverse Fitzpatrick ETF, be my guest, because if the chart looks good, I may trade the damn thing. All right, I'll see you next time.